contests and all that stuff. I'd like to take just a few moments here to acknowledge our contest people. Starting off with our trumpet trio, Pearl, Aiden, and Caden. We put down a large and they received a 2 rating for their performance. I'd also like to acknowledge Elena. She also took a flute solo. She received a 2 at the regional level. Our next performance is the Woodwind Ensemble, and they were a state qualifier, which means they received a 1 rating at regionals before they could go on, and then followed by the Percussion Ensemble. They're also got a 1 at regionals. Also, our soloist, snare drum, there he is, Maverick, way in the back there. A 1 at state and regionals. Also, our saxophonist back here, he was playing alto sax instead of the tenor there. He received a 1 at regionals and a 0 at state. Last Saturday was our state with the Salina. Windy. Our second worst bus ride of my life. This time no one got sick. That's not a good thing on a bus. I'm taking it right now. There's not enough windows on a bus after someone gets in the car. But we didn't get that, so that's awesome. We took 4 entries to state. The Woodwind Ensemble got a 2. Percussion Ensemble got a 1. Vince got a 2 on his he was 1 point away. And then Maverick, once again, for sharing on solo. So we're going to start off with Woodwind Ensemble. And this is what I like about my job. Us band directors, we look out for each other. We warmed up in Pioneer Hall there at Kansas Wesleyan, and then we had to go across the Commons area to Fitzpatrick Auditorium, which is not too far away, but it's far enough. And then we got on stage and played our concert up just to get some air going through the horns. Because if your horn will go flat, because the metal cools down and it causes the instrument to go flat. Anywho, we play our concert up, and I wanted to get to small theater. I wanted to get used to the sound. And our Barry saxophone, which is an alto tonight, because we couldn't get it fixed, literally broke on that spot. Right there, right in front of everybody. I was struggling to find the right key that was out of sync and all that stuff. I couldn't find it. And I know this band director, he teaches in Eastern Kansas, and he said, "Do you want to borrow my Barry?" Because they were in the audience watching us. And I was like, so we just switched out mouthpieces, and I thanked him immensely. And so that's what I like about being a band. We kind of look out for each other. So we're Woodwind ensembles without a Barry. So we're missing some low end. So it's all good. So this is Scherzo by Schubert.
was awesome. That was good, man. That's what they played at state.
Recognize one of our senior band members. I've been asking around about the Billy O'Brien Band Award, and I guess it goes to an outstanding senior band member. And your Senator Jerry Lorenzo